Hi. So today we are going to talk about the credentialing process to become a licensed therapist, physical therapist in the USA. So as I was taking the NPTE, the exam, I realized that it is not just the NPTE that is one identity. You have to go through a whole gamut of hoops to be eligible to take the NPTE. So essentially, the NPTE is, I could like preparation to the NPTE could be broken up into three parts. One is the credentialing process. So it basically says that you're good enough to go to take the NPTE. You know, your education is good enough. Okay, you've studied enough. The second part is the preparation in the weeks before the NPTE. And the third part would be the final few days before the NPT, the day before the NPT, and finally the test day itself. Okay, so um, I have recently gone through this whole process, and I had a tough time because I didn't have anyone mentoring me or telling me where to look for information and to actually walk me through the whole process. And since I just went through all of that recently, I really want to share that information with you so that it helps others who are preparing for this, and it makes it a little simpler to understand how things work. All right, so today we are going to talk about the credentialing process. So the credentialing and evaluation process is basically a comparison of what you have already studied to the curriculum of the US educated physical therapist. Okay, so people who come from countries other than the US, it could be um, India. Okay, I'm from India, so okay, so any other countries. Also, because I'll be talking about the TOEFL, I would stress that the TOEFL is something that the non English speaking countries have to take. So that is what we are going to take into account today. Okay, so today we are going to talk about the credentialing, including the TOEFL. All right, so there are different agencies that do your credentialing. Some of them are the CGFNS, FCCPT, ICA, ICD, and IERF. Not that I know much about any of these. I got mine done through FCCPT, and I had a very good experience, and they're always quick to pick up the phone and talk to you, prompt in their email replies, and basically there for you to assist you in any questions or queries that you might have. And trust me, you'll have a lot of them. So yeah, I had a good experience with FCCPT, so I would definitely recommend that to anyone who's planning to pick an agency for their credentialing process. Now, the FCCPT has different services. Okay, so you really want to go to the FCCPT website and read every single page. Okay, trust me, there is no such thing as okay, you can skim through this. There's no skimming because every line, every sentence is going to really matter. You know, if you skip a paragraph and then you find, oh, I just like this is not what I expected to happen. Oh dear, you didn't read the whole thing. So make sure you take your time and just spend an entire day just reading the FCCPT website, making your own notes, and trying to understand the steps. Okay, so there are different services, but we'll talk about the main ones that are for the credentialing process. You have the educational credentials review where they just look at your education, US education, tell you what's missing. Okay. Then you have a step higher than that, which is a type 1 service. So the type 1 includes not only the educational credential verification, but also the USCIS healthcare worker certificate. The main difference between the educational and the type 1 is that this compares only your study, okay, how much you have studied and if whether or not that is enough. The Type 1 certificate, on top of the education credential, also includes your TOEFL scores, takes into account your TOEFL, and gives you a healthcare worker certificate. So, which is something that you'll need to be licensed to work in the US. All right. And the third is the New York verification process. Now, that is a complete different category all by itself for the state of New York. In the US, different states are like their own entities. They have their own rules and own processes. A lot of them are similar to each other, but you really want to check out the state that you are planning to apply to because things are a little bit here and there for each state. So you want to find out requirements for your specific state. The New York verification process is exclusive, as it is obvious to the state of New York. When you send documents for the New York verification process to FCCPT, they can use New York documents for any other state or any other service that you might want to use now or in future. Okay, so once you send to New York, you're good. Then they can use it for other services. Okay, so first you have applied to New York, and then you get up and say, "Oh, I might be moving. I might need Michigan license now." So you tell FCCPT, "Oh, you have all the papers from New York. Remember, please use that for my Michigan state evaluation," and they would do that. But if you have done some other state, say you have done Texas, okay, so you send all the papers from your colleges, universities to Texas, and then you say, "Oh, I might move to New York. So, hello, FCCPT, can you please use those papers for New York as well?" No, no, they won't do that. Okay, you have to do the New York thing all over again. So, my point is, if New York is in your broad scheme of things, in the near or distant future, if it's even somewhere on the horizon, you might want to start with the New York verification process. It costs money, but it saves you time and effort, because having once you deal with it, you know what I'm talking about. Having your colleges receive documents and fill it up and put in the proper transcript and the course syllabus corresponding to your year of education. Sometimes things can go a bit hanky panky, and take up a lot of your time. You might be like, "Oh God, I have to do this all over again," and it's a little stressful. So if you want to do New York and some other states, start with New York. It will make your life simpler. All right? Okay. So these are the three types of services that you might want to start with. And now we will talk about credits. Okay, so the thing is that in the US, if you have done subjects at a level which is below the bachelor's level in India, so say you did physics, but you did it in 12th. Okay, you did all the physics that they do here later on, but you did it a bit earlier. They do not take that into consideration. You should have done your subjects at college level, professional level. Only then it counts. So, what happens is that even though we have studied a lot of these things, they do not count because we studied them a bit too earlier. So, there are two types of credits. You have general credits and you have professional credits. What are general credits? General credits are stuff like sociology, history, psychology, English, stuff like that. And professional credits are more physical therapy related professional subjects. So you have anatomy, kinesiology, neurology, cardiovascular, and clinical hours of physical therapy attendance. Uh, so that's all your professional stuff. Now, the rule which changed last year, I think, is that you should have a total of 150 credits. Okay, out of these 150, at least 90 should be professional. The rest may be general, maybe professional, whatever, doesn't matter. Total 150, professional minimum 90. Okay, so out of 150, say you have 110 professional credits, then you have to do just 40 general credits. And you just want to bring your total to 150 and make sure professional is at 90. Now, there is a little exception here. say you have 90 professional let's say even more, you have 120 professional credits and just 30 general, and you have done all these credits and you send your coursework to FCCPT, and they still tell you to do a little more. Why? Because a few courses or subjects are mandatory. You have to have these in your curriculum. Okay. Usually these are subjects like CSRD, which is consultation, screening, referral, and delegation, metabolic diseases, cultural competency, CPR course. So sometimes you might have the number, quantity, but you may not have the quality, the required subjects. So when you are completing credits and trying to go for that number, you want to make sure that you include all these subjects which are mandatory in order to reach that number. Okay, say for example, um, I have, I'm almost there. I have 148 credits. I have just 2 credits remaining. So I said, okay, what do I have here? Let me do some sociology because my professional are enough, and I just might do a 2 general credits and get to my 150. But if your credential evaluation says evidence not found for cultural competence, okay, you have to do that subject, because otherwise what will happen is that you will spend time, money, all your resources on doing your 2 credits in sociology, and then FCCPT will tell you, oh my dear, yeah, you have 150, but you still have to got to do this subject. So then you have to go back and spend more time and more money and more resources on doing the other subject, which is mandatory. So it makes good sense to see what are the mandatory subjects. So these are the subjects I have to do no matter what. Now, where do you find this? If you go to the FCCPT or even the FSBPT website, you have a coursework tool. Okay, so coursework tools correspond to the number of years. So coursework tool 1 is, I don't know which year to which year. Coursework tool 2 is this year to this year. Coursework tool 4 maybe like up to 2003 or something. And everyone who's passed after that, it was after 2003 or 2005, I don't remember which, has to have coursework tool 5. And soon they are going to have a new one coming up. So anyone who's going to take the NPTE will have to go to the credential process using the coursework tool 5 for the next year or so, and then they will do a higher version, the newer one, which will be the 6. So when you open the coursework tool 5, they have all these list of subjects and courses that you have to do. So you just see which you have and which you don't, which sounds easier than it is. Okay, so I only got to know it when my initial evaluation was done, and I was told, okay, these are things that you're missing. Okay, so yeah, that happens unless you have somebody else from your class who went to the same college as you did and did the same subjects, and you can compare with them. So the coursework tool, which is the most current, is the 5, and it makes sense even though you might have passed a bit early and graduated in an earlier, and so the earlier version applies to you. The coursework tool, which is the most recent one, is the one that is used by the USCIS, and you want to use that one to be current. Okay, so even if you're tempted that if I use the earlier one, I might not have to do these extra subjects, but in the larger scheme of things, it makes sense to do the most current one. So you are up to date on your um, subjects, on your educational equivalency. Okay, so that is about the coursework tools. Um, when you do your initial evaluation with FCCPT through the education credential or the type 1, they give you all these reports, and they tell you that you still need to do these many subjects and these many credits. Now, where do you find where to complete the subjects from. So there are various online programs, such as the Philippines Research Institute in Philippines, and there are other colleges as well in the US, like the St. Augustine's. Uh, I don't remember any. There are a lot of them. So if you look up on the net, you'll find these colleges. So you join their program, pay the fees, and they enroll you into their program, and you get a certificate once you're done taking the test or completing the assignments, whatever it is that they have you do. And that report goes to FCCPT. You have to tell the college that please send my report and transcripts to FCCPT. They will send a score report, transcript, and the course syllabus. And the FCCPT will keep collecting these courses till you are done with all the remaining courses that you were required to do. Okay. Um, hmm. This is going a bit longer than I had thought, but it's all important, so let it be. Um, Now, sometimes you're not really sure which college or institute is the right one for that particular course. Is it authorized by the FCCPT? Will the FCCPT consider this? Is it a valid resource? And what if you end up paying so much money to them and doing all this work, and FCCPT says, nah, no, not the right one. We don't really accept anything from that place. Okay, Karen. So another good resource that FCCPT has is the plan. So plan is Planned Learning and Assistance Network. So what basically happens is when you register for plan and pay the fees, FCCPT hires a counselor. Okay, he looks at your study report and says, okay, so these are the things we need to do. These are the courses that are remaining. If you do this, you will reach these many number of credits. So in category one, you have to take at least 2 credits. In category two, you have to do at least two of these 5 subjects. So it's all very systematic, and it makes it so much easier because otherwise it's a bit overwhelming. Okay, so I used Plan. It was a great tool. We have this counselor who gives you all these options, where to do, from what to do, what to do, from where to do, and it ensures that you do it from the right place. Okay, it's authenticated. That's what it is. And it also includes a re-evaluation. So once they tell you, okay, you complete all these things, then they send all your material back to FCCPT, and FCCPT re-evaluates and says, all right, you completed everything we told you to, and so now, yeah, you get your Type 1 certificate. Yeah. So, yeah, it is actually a big certificate, says that you're authorized to. It's a healthcare worker certificate. All right. So, let's see what we are missing here. I know that we need to cover the TOEFL in a bit pretty quickly. Okay. So about the credentialing process, so yeah, there's this particular protocol. You are not to be involved in any step of the credentialing process except to send out forms, verification forms to the request for academic credential verification forms to FCCPT, telling them which college to contact and the address of the college. In some cases, they might even ask you to send your work. No, sorry, I got it wrong. Okay. And you are not to be involved. You just tell the FCCPT, contact this college and this one, and you're done. And FCCPT will send out forms directly to that college and this college and this college, and the colleges fill up those forms, sign, stamp them, put in the required transcripts, course syllabus, mark sheets if required, seal it in closed envelope, stamp it, and send it back to FCCPT. You are not supposed to be part of the process. Okay. All right. All right. And yes, of course. So, yeah, when you register for the first time with the FCCPT, they give you a file number, that is the login ID, and whatever you need to check, like, has this thing reached FCCPT? You log into your file, you say yes, no, whether it has reached there or not. So that's how they keep in touch with you. If they send out something, they'll let you know, okay, we have sent out this to this college, and if you need to change any service, or so it's all very transparent and very smooth, and trust me, it's very prompt. So okay. Okay, now quickly about TOEFL is something you'll need to do for the type 1 certificate. It has 4 parts: reading, listening, writing, and speaking. Okay, and you need a certain number of marks score to be eligible. So each state has, you need minimum 26 on 30 in speaking, or 24, I think, in writing. What it is? Okay, I don't remember. Reading, listening is comparatively easy. You just read stuff and answer questions related to it. You listen to people talking and again answer stuff related to that. Writing needs a bit of practice. You need to be able to good at typing first thing, and um, you need to have a good vocabulary. You want to express your thoughts and you want to do it in the best possible way. But these three are comparatively easy and people don't have a problem with these. The problem that people have is in the speaking category, because you have to talk. It's more like you'll be like, oh, I'm talking to myself. This is weird. But you have to get used to it. So there are some links and there's some material available on the internet which helps you with the TOEFL. Another good way of preparing for the TOEFL is by picking a random topic and recording yourself as you talk about it, and then listening to that record with a pen and paper in hand and writing down what needs improvement. It might be your choice of words, your vocabulary, your grammar. It could be your tone of speaking or the clarity of your speech. You need to really be very critical and see what needs improvement. And you need to do this a lot on a variety of topics. So it's easy, but it's not a cakewalk exactly. So you need to put in a little bit of time on that. Just don't walk into the top of the center and accept it to be all, rose petals. It is not. You need to have a little practice just so you don't get intimidated and um, end up feeling all weird about having to talk to yourself, because there are a lot of other people talking on at the same time as you. Okay, there are so many people taking the test. So yeah, that's it for TOEFL. Okay, so that concludes our first video on the steps to the NPTE. I know I haven't talked about the NPTE yet. I intend to do that in the second video. So I think I'm going to call this video The Road Through NPTE, because it's not just the NPTE. You need a lot of preparation before, during, and even after the NPTE, as you're about to find out. And what I talk here is only my own experience, and I know that different people will have different experiences, uh, you know. So I would really appreciate feedback, and what we are really trying to do here is help and make the whole process easier and more comprehensible to everyone. And I would appreciate any feedback, recommendations, critiques, suggestions, replies, whatever it is that you guys have about this. And we just all want to come together and help people. Okay, so I hope we had a good time, and I'll see you again in the second video, which will be exclusively on the NPT preparation. Okay, thank you guys for watching. Ta-ta.